Congresswoman.
Sorry to everybody up front.
She's a saucy little minx you're representing.
You're a patriot, that's what you are.
A patriot.
She's a patriot.
Congresswoman, people are so excited you're here. Though they question your judgment about being associated with this. However...
It's a staff problem.
Spoken like a true politician. Well, welcome and happy Obstruction of Justice Week.
That's right.
So I have to ask you, we just had my good friend, Representative Adam Schiff on. We're not lawyers, right? You played dental assistants on television?
Several times.
They know this is obstruction of justice. I mean, what do you think of that? And if obviously Schiff in your body saying they're going to add that to their investigation?
Well, one, I gotta tell you that I couldn't be prouder. I mean, I know this is supposed to be fun, but Adam Schiff is fantastic. Because I'm backstage and I'm listening and I'm laughing and I need that. I need a little humor in my life. And the thing about Adam Schiff is there's too much of the affirmation on social media and 24 news outlets that people aren't paying any attention to how serious the current allegations, the current information, how they're connecting the dots. And what Adam Schiff is doing is he's getting people to listen. That they're adding these charges, that they're identifying issues, that they're beginning to connect the dots. And if you're following who Mueller is putting in charge of this investigation, they are putting it together.
He's seen the classified information. He sees more than circumstantial evidence of collusion. I believe him.
I believe him too. I like the way that he does that, where he doesn't create panic, but he creates a serious response. Because what we want is we want the resistance, and we want Americans to be thoughtful and to understand how critical it is to do this work right.
I know it's hard to predict Trump. Do you think he's going to fire Mueller? And then what happens? Where do you think we're going next with this?
Well, if he fires Mueller, then there's a whole new effort at an independent investigation that's marshaled by Congress. That's definitely what he doesn't want. So he's caught now between two realities. He doesn't want somebody who looks like he's going to take this investigation serious, and he doesn't want an independent commission that's controlled by Congress. He gets what he gets. He gets the FBI, or he gets the commission. Quite frankly, I'd like to have both. I'd like you to be
both. We just talked about Kamala Harris being interrupted twice. And, you know, she's our fantastic former Attorney General from California.
Kamala is the best.
But I mean...
Except she doesn't play softball.
She'd be a killer. But I mean, all these women that have been interrupted, but let's put aside the horrible misogyny that Hillary faced in the campaign, but you look at everybody, Sally Yates, Hillary, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi.
There's 104 women in Congress who are all going to have a similar story.
But tell us what your experience is like as a woman congressperson in this environment.
Well, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to do a serious note, which isn't as fun, but we need a tipping point in Congress, sort of what you've done to John here, right? You gave him the bad mic, you got the 3 powerful women over here. The majority of women in leadership positions, and sexism will cease to exist. And when it ceases to exist in the halls of Congress, that will make it. Now that's trickle-down improvements to sexism. It's going to trickle down on a not-so-serious note, you bet. I mean, things happen all the time. I'm the chair of the Hispanic caucus, and I will tell you, another strong Californian, Norma Torres. I wasn't there to chair the meeting. The boys are always bad, right? And I can't get them in line. And Joaquin Castro was cheering for me one day, and they all behaved. And Norma Torres
John.
called him out.
John, as the only man on the here, just hand that to him. I mentioned this on the show this week. I think I mentioned this, that I think even Mika has tamed Joe Scarborough, right? I do feel like he may have a cock ring and she has a leash on it, and she's like, ah!
Well, in fairness, let's not forget the working name of that show was "Shut Up, Mika, Men Are Talking, Go Make Me a Steak." But
right, and now
I just want to say,
like,
in my defense,
he looks like any other political nerd on MSNBC.
Yes, but I will say, I don't. Feminism means you think women are equal, right? I'm not a feminist. I'm a female supremacist. I think testosterone rots the brain.
As well, you should be in the age of Wonder Woman.
That's it. I'm very feminist, ladies. I leave the seat down in the men's room, okay? I promise.
I kind of feel like, don't you feel like Mika's just like, Joe starts to say something and then she's like, ah! And he's like, oh, Newt Gingrich is wrong to smear Mueller. Fantastic. Ladies, cock rings for America. Let's do this. Get your men in line. Another inappropriate no representative. I understand that you're a softball player. Mm-hmm. Well, even though you're straight, I'm gay. It's still kind of hot.
I'm the most valuable player. I bring the liquor.
What? She wrote a joke. She wrote a joke. Quite honestly, this had to be terrifying for all of you in Washington. I don't know if you know, but my dad was a Republican congressman. And so when Gabby Giffords got shot, and when this happened this week, it resonated for me in a way that was more personal, deep, and human, and trying to imagine my mother coming home and telling me that my dad had been shot doing the things that you guys do every day. What were your thoughts on all of this when this happened? How did you feel?
The hard part is you're driving. I remember it was like this is not the right comparison, but for the Twin Towers, remember, everybody knows exactly where they were. I was driving, I was commuting to Santa Fe, I'm listening to it on the radio. Well, the same thing, I'm driving to work, and they're redirecting traffic, because I live by the VP's house, by the observatory. They were already adding security, and I'm listening to the radio, and as I'm hearing what's unfolding, I think immediately my mother, who's listening to the news, isn't going to be able to distinguish that it's men's baseball and not women's softball.
Right.
And she's going to be having a heart attack.
Yeah.
And then how quickly can I get to my mom? Because if I don't get to her quickly enough, then my daughters are going to be upset and scared. And that's how every American, every member of Congress, everybody who's anywhere close feels. And why these alarms aren't enough to solve the gun violence epidemic in this country, I don't understand.
They were already calling for more guns. After this, when I thought, like, what does it take? First graders, Democratic Congress, oh, now does it take Republicans to get shot? Didn't do anything. They're still saying what we need is more guns. We needed everybody to be armed.
That's the first policy reaction out of Congress, is that we're gonna allow members of Congress to be armed. And remember, the only kind of gun issues that have happened in Congress are because Capitol Police have forgotten their weapons in the bathrooms, right? Or we've had staff bringing in members' guns, and it doesn't make any sense. And the very next thing we're going to hear, I fear, is going back to the policy, let's make sure teachers are armed in schools.
Congresswoman, as an empathetic liberal, I'm against that, because you know that Louis Gohmert would shoot his own dick off. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants there not to be any more little Gohmerts.
I find the NRA says it's too soon to talk about gun violence. It's usually too late. Is it still going out? Is it still Verizon service? Okay. I just find that, like, right away they were saying to everybody who cares about gun safety, like all of our foreign allies have, there you go, exploiting a tragedy. And again, the people who talk about gun safety laws right away are not the ones exploiting a tragedy. That's the NRA sending out mailings saying they're coming to take your guns away, so go buy more guns now. The people talking about guns are trying to prevent the next tragedy, not exploit the last one. And I I'd love to ask you about this because I fear that it's all the subterfuge. There's the stuff we're all talking about. Stay at home with family, exchange gifts privately. While Comey was giving this this questioning, and it was a great testimony, it was fascinating. During that, and all the headlines focusing on that, the GOP voted to gut Dodd-Frank and let predatory lenders go after your mom and let the banks rip us off all over again. And I didn't see 1/10 the coverage afterwards that I saw of Comey testimony. What can ordinary people do, Congresswoman, who care about issues like unmuzzling the banks and predatory lenders again to rip us all off again and have a complete repeat of the last Bush administration?
I would actually do two things. One, keep listening to their show. That's one.
That's the most important thing. Let's bring this back to my cabinet meeting. Congresswoman, what else would you like to say about how great I am?
Do I get to keep the good mic? Oh God, you are great.
It is an honor and a privilege from baby Jesus himself.
Congresswoman, John makes a really good point that while this has been a huge news week, not only that, John, but they're trying to push Trump care through in the dead of night with no one knowing about it. What do you know about Trump care and what's happening?
I don't know anything, right? Nobody knows anything because they're not allowing any participation or any hearings because they know that if they do, that they're going to have the same kind of reaction that the House had, because this is a bill that is not about health care. This is a tax package for insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, and the super wealthy in this country. And the less everybody knows about it, the better it is. They need this money. They made these promises. They don't want to do health care reform. And while they're meeting in secret, the House is doing small modifications that, quite frankly, to basic health care, that if they'd been willing to do in the first place, that they hadn't been sabotaging the Affordable Care Act, we would be much further along to a much better, balanced health care reform movement in this country. We don't want to do it. And what I want you to do is I want you to call every Republican, so every New Mexican, you can call my office, of course, and you can call Ben Ray, and you can call Tom, and you can call Martin Heinrich, but you call Steve Pierce, and you want his staff every day to give you a list of the bills they're proposing. And I'll tell you why you ask Republicans, because while they're in the majority, I often have no idea myself what's coming before Congress in a given week. That's wrong. All right, and I'll tell you that Speaker Ryan promised that that would not be how we were doing the work of the people. That's right. So, call Republicans. You tell them you want a list every single week of the bills that
And
they are
don't
proposing.
email, call, and
Call
fax.
them. Call them, call them,
Inconvenience their
text them.
steps.
Make them.
I assume Frangela agrees on Trump care, having both played nurses on television.
Yeah, no, we're dental receptionists. They don't let
Take them as definitely not covered.
Should we call it GOP care instead of Trump care since they're going to be around a lot longer than him?
You know, actually, that's a really good idea.
Representative, in anticipation of your governorship, have you ever drunk dialed anyone? Now, in fairness, I drunk dialed you to thank you for doing this tonight. That's on me. You seem sober.
I think I'm good, because the only person I would drunk dial was my father, and he died. Don't be sad. Lovely life.
When we heard the pussy tape, but also when you heard that tape of your governor, what did you think when you heard that tape? Of her just smashed and... We thought we do that in Hollywood, right? Do you know who I am? Yeah.
I think somebody was proud.
We stayed in that hotel.